Jamming with History, Chapter 7. New but soon familiar. Roman was glad he enjoyed English, or it would have been impossible to focus for him. What did Virgil mean? What did he think his parents had done? When class ended, he rushed to his project partner's side. They both needed to go to history anyway. "What did you mean?" he asked. Virgil just chuckled. "You mean you didn't?" "That's adorable," he said teasingly. "I didn't what?" Roman exclaimed exasperately. Virgil looked back. "Look my family up." Roman was about to ask what he meant by that, but they arrived in class and Virgil once more headed straight for his desk, clearly not intending to elaborate. This was getting annoying. The whole mysterious guy thing was kind of attractive when they didn't talk, but now, shouldn't they be a bit more open with each other? Hadn't Virgil made a thing about being honest and stuff? Surely he didn't plan on keeping him in the dark until he did look him up. "Mrs. Sanders, Mr. Fernandez, a word," the teacher announced at the end of the class. He did not sound pleased. Roman looked at Virgil confused as they approached the front of the class. What was going on? "Is there a problem I should be aware of?" their teacher asked, looking between them with a stern glare. "With the project?" Roman wondered. "I think we made a good start." "What was this about?" The teacher stared him down for a few moments. "I got a call last evening." "You have to be kidding me!" Roman groaned as he realized what must have happened. "I'm so sorry, Virgil. I swear I didn't ask him to do that. I explicitly told them no." What really made him mad was that his parents hadn't told him what they'd done. The events of that morning made a lot more sense. "Don't worry, man. From what I heard of them, I'm not surprised," Virgil assured him. The teacher cleared his throat. "I assume this means there won't be any such issues in the future?" "Oh, absolutely. But out of curiosity, what did you tell his folks?" Virgil asked with a grin. "Nothing but the truth. I told them that you are an exemplary student and that if they are truly concerned for Mr. Fernandez's grade and reputation, they should be very glad to have him associate with you and your family." Virgil chuckled. "Thanks, Mixar. I really appreciate that," Virgil said pleasantly. "Once again, I am so sorry," Roman told their teacher. "Mr. Fernandez, you cannot control your parents' actions. I have dealt with spoiled brats plenty. You are not one of them." Roman relaxed. At least his parents had not gotten the teacher to hate him in their well-meant attempt at protecting him. Once they left the room, Virgil turned to Roman. "Guess we now know why your folks looked my family up so fast," he said. "Are you ever going to tell me what it is they found that made my mom act weird this morning, or am I supposed to look it up myself?" Roman demanded. "Well, since you asked so nicely," Virgil teased. "I mentioned my Uncle Logan before. He's my dad's brother and Thomas's godfather, but he has a soft spot for both of us. Even if he won't admit it," Virgil chuckled fondly. "Anyway, he has a certain reputation in the university game. The kind that makes people not want to upset him so their kid can go to the college of their choosing. Not that he'd actually campaign against someone's acceptance due to a personal disagreement. He occasionally gets involved in who gets scholarships when someone brings a case of 'my daddy is the mayor' to his attention. It's more, you impress him and he puts someone who can pay their own way out of a scholarship. Rather than, you annoy him, good luck getting into any kind of college," he explained. Roman nodded. "But my parents might not realize that," he concluded. Virgil grinned. "Well, if they assume I have your future in my hands, let them assume. That was the point, right?" he asked. Roman nodded. "Oh, absolutely. It was kind of funny to see my mother force herself to say something nice about you. And the semester's only started," Roman trailed off, remembering the issue with the press. "Listen, before we continue this whole thing, you should know that, considering my parents, who they are, they've kept the press off my back for a long time. But when I turn 18... Dude, no worries, I can handle the press no problem," Virgil assured him. "What? Really? But this morning he had gotten so annoyed at the gossip of their classmates. Paparazzi was notorious for being ruthless." Virgil grinned, though the mischievous lights in his eyes were dimmed somewhat. "I've got it covered, buddy. Now you should get to your class and I should get to mine. See you at lunch." Roman watched Virgil walk away, hands in his pockets, waving through the masses of students like a master airbender. Damn, that boy was so cool. Roman was having lunch with his friends again, going over this semester's play and which roles they were gunning for when suddenly Virgil set himself on the table next to him. Hey Fernandez! Told your crew about our side project yet? My friends are all on board already. Roman had actually been waiting for one of his friends to start about Virgil again. He'd been sure that Xander would have something to say about Thomas at this point. Speaking of, Xander had been very quiet, and was now very much not looking at Virgil. I was getting around to it, Roman assured him. Cool, Virgil said as he tossed the grape in his mouth, looking at him expectantly. Roman sighed and looked at the rest of his table. Virgil and I are playing a prank on my folks of sorts, he started. We realized I'm their worst nightmare and we let them live it, Virgil chuckled. Well, yeah, basically. If you guys want, we could always use some help, fanning the flame, so to speak. We can straight up lie to them. The whole idea is to make them assume everything, never correct them until we feel we have to, and confront them with their judgmental attitude and the fact that they can be wrong. Virgil nodded. So, you guys in? He asked. Roman's friends exchanged looks, and Roman could see sparks of inspiration light in each and every one of them. That looks like a yes to me. Oh, and Xander, Virgil said as he jumped up, popping in another grape. Xander flushed red and looked up. Yeah? He asked. Thomas said he really enjoyed talking to you, and that you can give him a call if you need help with the play in any way. And without waiting for a reply, Virgil returned to his table. Everyone turned to Xander curiously. His brother is Thomas Storytime Sanders, Xander informed them. Roman's eyes widened. He'd been in middle school when Vine was big and his parents wouldn't let him download apps on his phone back then. So he kind of missed out on the big creators on there. But he'd heard about some, and he recalled other kids going storytime all over the playground back then. He didn't get much into YouTube, but he heard a lot of Vinesters made a move there. Xander had been trying to get him to follow some theater gay creators, as he called them, but Romans had no time and no energy to defend yet another thing he did to his parents. But there was probably no better moment than now to stop caring what they thought, or of how he spent his free time. In any regard, apparently Xander was a big fan of Virgil's brother's career, ever since middle school. Thomas was internet famous, as people called it. Yet another new thing Roman learned about Virgil's family. He wondered how long it would take before he would actually get to know something about Virgil himself, other than the fact that he was hardworking, caring, and liked to stick it to the man, but in a harmless way. There was clearly something hiding underneath the surface, though, something about whatever happened in middle school. That might be related to why he acted like nothing could touch him. For now, the more he learned about Virgil's family, the more questions he had. Partnering with Virgil for a project brought a lot of changes, but Roman hoped he would get a chance to get used to them.